In these uncertain economic times, you've got to do whatever you can to save money. One of our biggest expenses can be our cars, especially when unexpected repair bills hit. Not anymore. If you own a vehicle with less than 130,000 miles, is less than 12 years old, has a warranty about to expire, or even no warranty at all, you could stop paying for car repairs. Roadside assistance, towing, and rental coverage are all included. Don't wait for the next repair. Make one free call right now to see if you qualify. If your vehicle is less than 12 years old, has less than 130,000 miles, even if it's out of warranty, paying for car repairs can become a thing of the past. Call us right now and get your car protected before your next repair bill hits. Get protection and no more repair bills. Call 800-696-1030. Again, 800-696-1030. That's 800-696-1030. 800-696-1030.
Alright folks, this is Rick Robinson with you. I want to tell you about some friends of mine from a company called Security Enforcement Specialists. When I ran my security agency for 12 years, I worked with one of these partners on a daily basis. He's been involved in this agency now, and with his other partner, they do have over 30 years of experience in the private security industry. If you own a business and you need someone to keep you or your customers or residents safe, then I highly recommend contacting Security Enforcement Specialists today. Give them a call at 405-703-1796. Again, that's 405-703-1796. And again, tell them Rick from K98 Talk sent you. Like I said, if you need the help, they are here for you. So make sure that you go look them up, check them out, and see what they can do.
Wrong way. Welcome to the place. Welcome.
Joe had huge problems with the IRS.
I knew it was coming. I hadn't filed taxes since 1990.
All the IRS letters coming in added up to a nightmare.
To get up to like $68,000, my heart started beating fast. It's like, there's no way, man. I mean, I ain't going to be able to do this.
Then they stopped his paycheck.
So that's when I started making phone calls and found U.S. Tax Shield.
U.S. Tax Shield went to work immediately.
They just took the bull by the horns. What blew my mind is he called the IRS right then and there.
So why is U.S. Tax Shield A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau? Joe knows.
They saved me a ridiculous amount of money.
If you owe more than $10,000 to the IRS or state, choose the company Joe chose, U.S. Tax Shield.
It was the best decision I made. U.S. Tax Shield is the way to go. Life is good. Thank you, Lord.
Call 800-471-3287.
U.S. Tax Shield. Boo-rah. Yes.
800-471-3287. 800-471-3287.
The internet will never be the same. You're listening to K98Talk.com.
Whoa! Good God, y'all. What is it good for? Absolutely. Now get set again.
You are listening live to the Vito and Vito Show. Disrespectful to the executive branch.
I would remind you that extremism in the defense of liberty is no vice.
Don't sign the damn deal, and the president won't.
Therefore, I do not believe that the majority can vote a man's life or property or freedom away from him.
And we're live here on the Vito and Vito Show. I'm Vito.
And I'm Vito.
And we want to welcome everybody here to the Vito and Vito Show, the hottest in conservative talk. The show's not good, but we're pretty hot. Self-floating. And the motion carries. We want to welcome everyone here to the Vito and Vito Show. Visit the website, www.vitoandvito.com. And check out our Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Vito and Vito Show. Vito.
We made it back from Values Voter.
What?
We survived Washington, D.C.
Well, one of us did. It was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. An awesome Christian conservative conference for those of you who don't know. And boy, do we have a lot of information for you. It has been an awesome conference.
You gotta check out some of the interviews we had. We're gonna play that coming up in a little bit.
Mike Huckabee, the Liberty Institute.
The Benham Brothers.
The Benham Brothers. And listen, it is an awesome, chock-full hour of political talk that we're going to bring you.
And
I got married.
If you fell in love.
I fell in love. I think I'm getting married.
Not with me.
No. I'm tired of you.
Contrary to popular belief. But, as the title of the episode implies, we brought liberty to Values Voter, one stripper at a time.
Oh, man, it was a lot of fun.
We went to a gentleman's club after.
Well.
Wait, it's not a gentleman's club?
Well, here's the reasoning why.
Well, we went because...
Well, because there's only so much Jesus a man can take. I'm sorry. I know. Listen, I love the Christian conservatives. Mwah! It goes out to you.
I love Jesus, but I love naked women, too.
Hey, as a libertarian, I get to have a little bit more fun and freedom.
As a 20-year-old college student in Washington, D.C., with a few extra singles to spare, we get to have a little fun.
Well, friends of us that went with us were just throwing money at me. They just wanted me to give it away to the strippers.
Wads of cash.
Wads, yeah.
Go dance with them.
Go dance with them. I tried getting on the pole, but I got slapped. Listen, it was a lot of fun, and I fell in love, Vito. I did. I fell in love. I found my future wife. I don't know her name. I don't know where she's from. All I know is she's a stripper in D.C. I'll tell you the story, ladies and gentlemen, before we get into our first interview with the awesome conservative columnist, Star Parker. But here's the story. We walk into the joint. And there we see gorgeous, like the Bada Bing in The Sopranos, gorgeous women hanging from the ceiling. It's heaven. I don't know what else to say. And we see these beautiful women, and they're dancing. And there's this one woman who I see, she's right next to me, and she's just busting a move. And I see her there, and I got so excited, Vito. She was gorgeous.
Who's that lady?
Was she not, or was she not gorgeous?
Well, they all were.
They were. Well, come on.
I like the strip club.
I'm talking about this one.
A specific. I don't remember her.
I don't remember her.
I don't remember the names.
There was so many, but she was there, and I said, "My God, I got to go see this." So, being the gentleman that I am at a gentleman's club, I took my wads of cash and I walked up to her. And I started throwing money at her, and I was just infatuated. Everyone is having a great time, and she looks at me, and she sees the shirt that I'm wearing. Now, I'm dressed in my libertarian gear. I got my Ayn Rand t-shirt on. I got my sport coat.
It was just a picture of Ayn's face
on my chest.
On his chest.
It's pretty cool.
Just her face.
It's awesome. And she sees this, and she says to me, "Is that Ayn Rand?" Vito. I fell in love at that moment, Vito. Now, if anybody knows and listens to the program, I love Ayn Rand. I mean, I think the woman is fantastic. I love her to death. I think she's spot on in all of her arguments, and I saw this, and I said, my God, this is the bolt. My stomach was churning. I was happy. I was excited. Things were flying everywhere.
Yeah,
money
Jesus
all over
Christ.
the floor. I was throwing money at her. She seemed to like it. I kept doing it. She seemed to like it again, and it was... at the end of the day, I don't know how I made it home, because there was no cash in my pocket, but boy, did I fall in love. Yeah.
That's what you're doing, that private dance. You're just sitting there talking to her.
Talking philosophy.
You're like, sit down, darling. Let's talk.
I'm doing this wrong.
He's like, I don't think this is what's supposed to be going on.
But you know what? She was a cool cat. She understood what it was. She understood philosophy. She even understood Ayn Rand's political arguments. She says, I'm doing what I do. I'm free, and I have the right to do it. And I said, you're 100% right. And we in the past have come out on this show for prostitution. We've come out for the legalization of drugs. We are the party in Republican Party. So we certainly have a lot of fun with this stuff. So enough about strippers and coke. Let's move over now to Star Parker. Right, Star Parker, awesome conservative columnist. She really was cool. I want you to get a gist of just what exactly is about to come in the next hour here with the Vito and Vito show. So sit back, relax, and enjoy Star Parker. Summit with the star herself, Star Parker, columnist, superstar conservative columnist. Welcome to the program.
Oh, I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
Well, listen, we love your columns. We love what you do. And I got to ask you, you're here at this event. What do you make of the Values Voter Summit this year?
Well, I've been coming every single year, and it just gets better. And one of the reasons it gets better is because more people are finding out that we're in a cultural war, and we better build up ourselves so that we can fight back the enemy.
Mm-hmm. Well, what have you seen to be the number one issue at this conference? Is it religious liberty? Is it an economic issue? What is the number one issue that is affecting conservatives at the Values Voter Summit?
I think many have come to the summit itself with deeper concerns this year. One being homosexual marriage. That's new. Last year we were fighting for that not to be the law of the land, and now it is. So people have that heavy on their heart. As well, abortion. We've always been very concerned as value voters about our nation and the curse that has come upon us because we kill off our offspring, and taxpayers are complicit. But this year what's new is that we have video that shows that they're forcing to sell body parts, and there's just not a lot of momentum. So I think these are things that are heavy on our heart. But that said, as you know, most of the day has been political people, all of the people that are in the Congress, all of the people that are running for president. So a lot of it's just political talk.
Speaking of political talk, let's not bash political talk. We are political talk. But let's talk about...
Yeah, but you're not politicians talking politically. You're actually telling the truth.
Exactly. That's why you're a star. But let's talk about some big political news that happened today. John Boehner stepped down.
That's right.
John Boehner stepping down in October, excuse me.
That's right, yeah.
What do you make of this? This is some groundbreaking stuff. What do you think is going to happen next, and why do you think he stepped down?
It is groundbreaking. I think that there is an insurgence that's saying we have to confront this ill that's in our land and the evil that's in the White House. And they have not seen that energy out of the people that are elected to do the business of the people here in Washington. So for John to leave, whom I've known for 20 years, and I love him, but for him to leave, it's showing that folks want new energy behind the truths that we're trying to protect in this country. And John just doesn't have it anymore. He just lost his will to fight. It could be he's just been here too long. He does leave at the end of October, but many are thinking he should leave today so that we can get on with defunding the governments and stop funding Planned Parenthood. For us to assume that if we are adamant and lock our feet on defunding Planned Parenthood, that automatically means a government shutdown. Many of us are convinced. If the American people knew that this president is willing to allow the government to shut just so that $1 billion corporation can keep getting $500 million of tax money so that they can do their number one business, which is kill children, kill offspring, kill what God calls his reward, and now we find out selling baby parts. I'm just not sure the American people won't become repulsed by that and decide that maybe we shouldn't give that organization this kind of money. Surely with them having $1 billion, they would be able to continue their business of slaughter if they wanted to, but they certainly shouldn't be using tax money. It's a debate that many want to have. John and the leadership here in Washington did not want to have that debate, and so he's being replaced by energy that wants to have the debate about what's really wrong in our country.
I think that's the conservative movement finally coming about. We're not happy with the establishment, and we want to see some change. We want to see bold leadership, and I think it's about time we start to see that finally taking place.
That's exactly what's happening.
Exactly. Star Parker, where could we find you?
You can always find me at urbancure.org. You can find me at urbancure.org, urbancure.org, urbancure.org. And the reason I'm leading you there first is because you can't get my nonprofit money over Facebook, but you can do it at urbancure.org. But I am on Facebook, Star Parker for Freedom, and I'm at Twitter, Star Parker.
Star Parker, the shining star. Thank you so much for being on the Vito Show.
Hey, Vito. That is so cool.
And that was Star Parker. Absolutely amazing. Conservative columnist that she is. Pretty cool, Vito. She's pretty cool.
Right?
She makes a good point. Because she talks about John Boehner.
That she knew for 20 years.
She knew for 20 years. And she says that he lost his will to fight. John Boehner lost his will to fight. That's the issue here, ladies and gentlemen, and she's spot on. The man lost his will to fight for conservatives, for the values that he so proclaims when it comes around election time, and then when he gets into speakership, when he holds one of the most powerful positions in the United States government, he neglects to do what he says he's going to do. And I'm telling you now, the man lost his will to fight. He's not the same John Boehner as we saw back in the 90s under Newt Gingrich. He's a different man.
When we need him the most.
Yeah, and he's a dishonest man, honestly, because he lies to people. He lies to his constituents, and he lies to patriot Americans that are listening to this program. Listen, Vito, we also got another big interview lined up, right? Because we got a bunch of stuff we want to get through. So that's our quick John Boehner thing. Thank God he's gone, and let's hope, I don't know, Trey Gowdy or
Trey Gowdy's not running for another term.
I know.
He's out after Benghazi.
That's awful. That's awful. I was going to say, Louis Gohmert. There you go.
There we go. Louis.
I want Louis. Hashtag Louis. I want Louis Gohmert to take it.
Next, right now, we got the governor.
Oh, we got this big one.
The governor, Mike Huckabee.
I know. We got Mike Huckabee lined up right here. Listen, Huckabee was awesome, and he makes a great point about religious liberty at this conference. I want you all to hear what he has to say. Exclusive interview right here from the Vito and Vito Show, and the rest of the report is down at the Values Voters Summit. Take a listen to what Mike Huckabee had to say.
Well, I'd love to see a little bit of it practiced. I'd love to see religious liberty practiced for the Little Sisters of the Poor. I'd love to see it practiced for the Green family of Hobby Lobby. I'd love to see religious liberty exercised for Kim Davis and Aaron and Melissa Klein. If he really believes in it, then he needs to turn the Justice Department loose in defending the religious liberty of people whose faith has been completely trampled upon by overreaching government actions.
Do you think that Republicans can nominate somebody who supports open borders when it comes to immigration trade policies? And what do you think about the fact that Marco Rubio is an open borders immigration and trade person?
You know, I never try to second guess what Republican voters will do. I've been wrong several times in the past. I was wrong back in 2008. I was pretty sure they were going to nominate me, and they didn't. And this time I'm pretty sure they will nominate me, and I hope I'm right. So, you know, what they do is up to the voters, and there are a lot of dynamics that go into that. But I'll continue to talk about my issues and not get into throwing rocks at somebody else.
Governor,
What's that?
What was your reaction to Speaker Boehner stepping down, and who would you like to see replace him?
Well, what I said in my speech, if you heard it, I said, you know, apparently, and I don't know, I wasn't there, but there are reports that he had a very private meeting with the Pope, just the two of them, and he came from that meeting and decided it was time to step down. So I'm kind of hoping that maybe Pope Francis and the President will get together again for a very private, intimate meeting before he leaves the country.
Governor, there have been a lot of conservatives here celebrating the news that John Boehner is stepping down. Do you think that Mitch McConnell should also step aside and let a new conservative
the
come in?
senators will make that decision.
But if you had your way...
Would you encourage him to meet with the Pope?
Good question.
But if you had your way, do you think somebody more conservative should take
Look,
over
I'm
the Senate?
disappointed in both houses. I'm disappointed that they haven't done what we sent them here to do. We sent them to put the brakes on executive overreach. I was disappointed they supported Trans-Pacific Partnership. I'm disappointed that all of the Republicans who were in the Senate supported that. I'm disappointed that they supported the Corker-Cardin bill that empowered the president to get the Iranian deal through.
So is it time for new leadership in the Senate?
Well, it's time for new leadership in the country. I know that much. And maybe with new leadership in the White House, the House and the Senate will be able to have leadership that they can clearly follow.
Governor, how much of that was their fault? How much of that was their fault? Did they overpromise in 2010, 2014 when they said we're going to try to do this to the president? How much of it was their fault that they didn't repeal Obamacare?
You know, I don't want to get into the blame game. I just know that when people sent them here, they didn't send them to give the president more power on Obamacare, immigration, and even trade, and certainly not the Iranian deal. I know on those four areas alone, the president got more power and the Congress didn't exercise much. So, I mean, I'm just looking at what I can see. If there were more things that were under the surface, those things were very much above the surface. We saw them all, and it frustrated the heck out of most of us who had gone out there and helped to get these guys elected.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
And that was presidential candidate Mike Huckabee. He's talking to the press. We were able to grab something from that conference, a small, intimate press conference that he had on Radio Row. And if you notice, here's the thing about Mike Huckabee that I actually like. Because he wasn't that great of a governor back in Arkansas. He spent a lot of money. He taxed a lot. I wasn't a big fan.
Words.
Yeah. But here's the thing about Mike Huckabee that I actually do like. He talks about religious liberty, and it's a central point in his campaign. It's a central point in the man's campaign. And you know what, Vito? That is one of the biggest issues facing Americans today, Christians today. Religious liberty is being undermined. Their freedom of religion, their freedom to worship is being undermined by an Obama administration that is seeking to further social justice, is seeking to rewrite history books so that he looks good. Here's somebody like Mike Huckabee coming in saying, wait a second, before we talk about gay marriage, before we force Christian bakers to bake cakes in the name of equality and in the name of social justice and in the name of the Obama administration, there are people's rights here at stake. People's lives are being undermined. The way they see themselves, the beliefs they hold are being undermined by an administration that doesn't give a damn about your religious liberty. Huckabee's making it a central point in his campaign, and I'm happy that he's doing so. I stand with Mike Huckabee on this issue, and I gotta say he's doing a great job. Vito, we also got somebody very important who came on our show. Now, a couple of months ago, back in the summer, this woman named Kelly Ward, versing John McCain in the primary. She's running against him. Here's the other conservative that's running against John McCain, Alex Molusky.
That's right.
Vito and him have a special bond. They know about the Rolling Stones. We're going to get into that in just a second. But I want you to hear one of the opponents of John McCain. Just one of the opponents. And I want you to say to yourself, what does John McCain lack that this guy has, that Kelly Ward has? Listen to what they say right here, the Vito and Vito Show. Vito and Vito here at the Values Voters Summit with the man who's going to take down John McCain, a patriot, Alex Molesky. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you for having me.
Hey, thank you for coming on. Listen, I got to ask, what inspired you to run against John McCain? Now, you're running against him in the Senate, or for the Senate seat, right?
In the primaries as a Republican, so, just to make that straight.
Awesome. All right, cool. What made you decide to do this? This guy is such a powerhouse in Washington. Why go after him?
Well, first of all, I don't know how much of a powerhouse he really is, considering I just don't believe he's done enough for our country. But why? Well, look at our country. Do you really feel proud of our country the way it is now? Do you think it's in good hands? Do you think it has a moral backbone or a moral compass that's really in shape for our country? So, no, that's part of the reason I'm running. But I also can't turn this country over to my kids the way that I've inherited it. And it's not in that good shape.
Well, I mean, John McCain is not a good senator by any means. I mean, I think he's a rhino, and I think lots of people supporting you, and I don't think that's an offensive term. I think that's, if anything, a vote of empowerment, because here are conservatives that want to see change in that Senate seat, and they're not happy with John McCain. What do you make of his policies against veterans? He says he does a lot, but in reality, he doesn't do so much. Where's your stance on veterans issues?
I don't believe he's fought enough for his veterans, our veterans, and that's the thing. That's the difference. He is a veteran himself. I have not served our country yet, but many of my family members have served multiple tours of duty for our country. I think it's good if you have a person who is just a regular citizen standing up for our veterans, because you know what? If a veteran says, hey, you've got to help our vets, I'm going to listen, but not everybody does. So what if you have all the citizens in this country saying, we need to take care of our veterans? He has not done a good enough job. The veteran system might be a little bit better than it was before, I don't know, but the bottom line is they're not getting the top care that we can give them. And if you're a veteran, if you're going to put your life on the line for me, if you're going to defend me from those that would do me harm domestically and abroad and then punish those, then it's my duty as an American citizen to make sure you get the best that you can get from me.
Alex Molesky, as the possible next senator over in Arizona, what do you bring to the table that John McCain doesn't? Straightforward.
Straightforward, I'm a citizen. I represent the citizens of Arizona, of the United States of America, when I'm a United States Senator. John McCain has been in office for over 32 years now in the House and the Senate. It'll be 34 years after this term. I have not served my country yet, but I am very willing and very glad to do so for my country like my family members have done so. I'll put my name, my fortune, and my life on the line for this country. I don't believe John McCain is in touch with the people. He's served too long at this point. I thank him for his service to our country, but we need citizen representation.
Well, we know you have another primary opponent as well, Dr. Kelly Ward, who also appeared on our program a couple of weeks ago. What do you make of Miss Ward, and why do you think you're the man for the job?
Well, I get along well enough with Miss Ward. I think we might be a little different. I've always encouraged everybody when I'm out and about to listen to all the candidates, have them side by side in forums so you can see how they represent themselves, how they answer the questions, do they skirt issues or they answer them, and also vet them, find out about their political records, go deep in there. But if they don't have a political record, like I don't, look at my grassroots record, look at my business record, look at the people that I've worked with in my personal life and see how I've treated them. One thing that's interesting that's going around in Arizona is a lot of people are concerned that there's a bunch of conservatives running against John McCain. And I still might like people to look really deep into that, but also they're afraid there's going to be a split vote. Well, my answer to that is, and people think that I'm the one who might be digging in, or maybe Kelly is, or maybe another gentleman by the name of Claire might take the votes away. I've already made a commitment that it comes time for ballots, and there's a legitimate, real poll out there, and I'm not the one who's polling the highest, that I'll remove myself. Because I understand that if you get somebody in there who can take out McCain, that's the most important thing about it. Because listen, if Kelly or Claire or I, and we got in there and we did not stand up for the values that we said that we were going to represent, then it'll be much easier to get rid of us than it will be to get rid of John McCain or somebody that McCain puts in there. So I've taken that pledge.
Alex, tell me a little about your personal life. You said you ran a business, and God knows we need some type of business organization in this country, let alone Arizona. So give me a little bit about yourself. What's your background?
I run a business. I also built that business. The government didn't build it. The government regulated me, but they did not build it. I'm a printer, like Benjamin Franklin was. So I started that business over 22 years ago over on the East Coast in a state called New Jersey, and then I ran away to Arizona about 5 years ago.
Look at that. You ran for the sun. I think I do the same thing. Alex, where could we find more about the campaign?
You can find more about the campaign at www.molesky.com. It's MELUSKEY.
Alex Molesky running for Senate against John McCain in the Republican primary. Good luck to you, sir. Thanks for coming
Best
on.
of luck. Thank you.
Thank you, Vito. Thank you.
And that was Alex Molesky getting a special interview by the Vito and Vito Show. The man's running against John McCain. We had his other primary opponent on, Kelly Ward, Dr. Kelly Ward. Listen, two great conservatives. We're still torn right now. I don't know who to support. But these guys and gals, they're awesome, they're great, and we wish him nothing but the best of luck. The point is, get McCain out of office and get a strong conservative in there who actually stands up for what they believe in. Vito, we also got to, listen, we're moving at warp speed right now. But I want to show off this next movie. If you're a part of the pro-life movement, this is the movie for you. The movie's called Voiceless, and I want you to hear what we spoke to when we spoke to the producer and the executive producer of this new groundbreaking pro-life film called Voiceless. Listen to this right now. I want you to hear just how groundbreaking this film is going to be.
All right, stop talking so much.
Oh,
Let's
come
play
on,
this.
man.
Come
I'm
on.
building it up.
Come on.
Here's the Voiceless movie. Vito and Vito here at the Values Voters Summit in Washington, D.C. And with me right now is Stuart Migden. I said that right?
You did.
I did. Awesome. He's the producer and executive producer of this amazing new movie called Voiceless. This is a movie that if you're a pro-life activist or who wants to defund Planned Parenthood, this is the movie for you. I'm going to turn it over to Stuart to explain just what it is. Stu, welcome to the show. Help us out. Explain the movie.
Yeah, you know what? It's a unique pro-life movie. And the reason it's so unique is that, look, there have been some great pro-life movies made. Bella, for example, was a great pro-life movie, is a great pro-life movie, and that was primarily about adoption. Juno, another great pro-life movie, and that's about adoption as well. October Baby came out a few years ago, and that's primarily about forgiveness. But Voiceless is very unique because it's a movie that's written to Christians, for Christians, to get them to engage the culture against the sin of abortion, to motivate them to stand up and do something about it.
Well, has this movie caught fire? Are there politicians that are interested in this movie? Any pro-life activists? Any figures in the conservative movement who have looked at this movie? I'm assuming it didn't come out yet, right?
It did not come out yet.
So any people that have been politician-wise have looked at this movie and said, wow, this is some groundbreaking stuff.
You know what? We've been so blessed with what we're hearing about a pre-screening of the movie. The movie came out of the post-production process 2 months ago. And since then, we have had some pro-life leaders take a look at it. CareNet, for example, who's here at the conference. The president, Roland Warren, saw it, loved it, wants to support us. Heartbeat International, another pregnancy center ministry, Peggy Hartshorn, the president there, saw it and loved it. Online for Life, which is a big pro-life ministry, Brian Fisher, Jeff Bradford, Dean Nelson, etc., they saw it and loved it and are all getting behind us. And supporting it. Jason Jones, Movie to Movement, is behind it in a big way and has helped us as well. We have pre-screeners out to Ted Cruz and a few others like that. It's just relatively new that we're getting the pre-screeners out. Alan Parker, pro-life activist, says simply the best pro-life movie he's ever seen. So we're getting great feedback. And the cool thing is that pastors who have pre-screened it love it as well. And so we're being very careful with who pre-screens it because it's a little bit too early now. It'll come out next year, but we'll get more pre-screening as we go along.
Okay. Well, the pro-life movement is such a powerful movement in this country. And now we've seen the recent news coming out with Planned Parenthood about them selling body parts. I mean, really, it's baffling. And it's sick and it's immoral. My question to you, Stu, you think this movie's going to really have an impact? Do you think this movie's going to wake some people up?
Listen, it's important for you to hear what I have to say, but I also want you to hear what some others have said as well. But yeah, we made this movie because we wanted to wake up a church that is lukewarm at best. And I believe that this movie will shake up the church and get them to say, you know what, we've got to take a stand. We've got to let our voice be heard in the pro-life area and in every area where God is in charge, which is everywhere, and morally speaking, we've got to stand up for what God tells us to stand up for, His Ten Commandments. But people have said that they believe that this movie can change America. And really, look, this character in our movie, the lead actor, basically puts his life on the line He risks it all to stand up against an abortion clinic. And the movie shows what can happen when one man puts a stake in the ground and says, you know what, I'm not going to take it anymore. I'm going to do something about this. And I believe people will relate to this character, Jesse Dean, in our movie in a very passionate way, and they will leave the theater. Look, they're going to leave, I believe, this theater in a way where they are moved. It's going to be one of those movies that just continues to creep up on them. And they're going to think about it when they go to sleep and when they wake up. Wow, I've got to do something about this. And I believe a movement will come as a result of this movie that will be much bigger than the movie itself.
Wow. Very interesting there, Stuart. I got to ask, as we wrap up our interview, where can we find more information about the film? When's it coming out? What's the website? I think this is really a groundbreaking film.
Yeah.
One of the more groundbreaking films we've seen come out of the conservative movement. Where could we find more information about it?
So, voicelessthemovie.com, www.voicelessthemovie.com. You can also go to joinvoiceless.com on your smartphone, joinvoiceless.com. Give us your information. We'll keep you posted as to when it's going to be coming out. And we are working in the next 60 days to define our distribution plan. And so we'll know at that point when the movie will be released in theaters. It'll be no sooner than mid to late January of next year, and no later than October of next year.
There you go. Stuart Migden here, producer and executive producer of this groundbreaking film, Voiceless. Thanks so much. Dynamite speakers, Voiceless the movie. Mike Huckabee. Wow, man. Just what great speakers we have just in the beginning of this show. And there's more to come, ladies and gentlemen, in the second half of the Vito and Vito show. But before we go to break, I just want to say that Vito and I are excited to announce that the 6th annual Liberty Fest NYC will be taking place on Saturday, October 10th and Sunday, October 11th at the Warsaw Concert Hall in Brooklyn, New York. That's in our own backyard, by the way. And guess what? We're going to be speaking there on October 11th. For those of you who don't know, Liberty Fest is an awesome yearly event that brings together speakers from across the political spectrum. Libertarians, Democrats, Republicans, even anarchists show up at this thing. And Vito and I are excited to be there so we can help spread what it is that we talk about here on this show. Listen, check out www.lfnyc.com. Again, the website is www.lfnyc.com for more information on how to purchase tickets. But guess what? If you're lucky enough to be listening to the Vito and Vito show right now, and in the week to come,
that's right. You can win free tickets for Liberty Fest 2015 here in Brooklyn, New York. Go to www.vitoandvito.com and subscribe in the upper right-hand corner of our website. Subscribe to vitoandvito.com, and we will be giving you, for free, tickets to come see us speak and a whole boatload of other speakers at Liberty Fest. So www.vitoandvito.com to subscribe to win free tickets.
It's going to be awesome. And if you don't win free tickets and you still want to come, again, check out www.lfnyc.com, the website www.lfnyc.com. Look, we're going to break. When we return, more awesome interviews, forget about it moments of the week, and Twitter fan right here on the Vito and Vito Show.
We may be surrounded. We may be outnumbered. We may be outgunned. But we'll never, ever stop the fight. Not while we're behind enemy lines. On We Are America Radio, Wednesday night at 10 p.m. War.
Who might you save?
Your mother, your father, your husband, uncle, aunt, son.
Learn FAST, F-A-S-T, the sudden signs of a stroke, and you could save
your friend, teacher, boss.
F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911. F-A-S-T. That's F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911. The sooner they get to the hospital, the sooner they'll get treatment. And that can make a remarkable difference in the recovery of
your neighbor, the waiter, grandmother, grandfather.
So learn FAST, the sudden signs of a stroke, then pass it on, because you never know who might save you.
Your wife, your colleague.
Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
Fighting the Common Core standards? Need a powerful tool to help inform others on this harmful education initiative?
You're covered with Common Ground on Common Core, the collection of essays by 20 top education experts and activists. Reviewers call it the best single resource on the topic. You can share it with literally anyone. Order your print or digital copy of Common Ground on Common Core today. Just visit resoundingbooks.org. That's resoundingbooks.org. And get $2 off when you tell them Vito and Vito sent you. Paid for by Resounding Books Pack.
Are you among the 64% of Americans who believe our country is going in the wrong direction? If yes, then eVoiceAmerica.com is the political take-action site we've all been waiting for. And it's really free. eVoice America provides your personal list of elected reps every time you log on. This makes it so easy to email your opinions and e-votes on top issues directly to each of our D.C. elected representatives. eVoice then publishes our e-vote majority percentages on top issues to each member of Congress and the media. Now, for the first time in history, we can know what millions of American citizens are telling Congress. No more gridlock. Join the new American majority using eVoiceAmerica.com, putting Americans in control of Congress. Visit eVoiceAmerica.com today. It's free and easy to use. That's eVoiceAmerica.com.
And we're back here on the Vito and Vito Show. Check out the website, www.vitoandvito.com. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Vito and Vito Show to follow the best of the best. Vito was supposed to bring us back into the break. We're running short for time. This is absolutely unbelievable.
God, you messed everything up.
Everything's going nowhere.
Go to the next
I want to go back to the strip club to see my Ayn Rand wife stripper. Vito, what's our next interview we have lined up
Liberty
here?
Institute.
The Liberty Institute. Listen to this awesome interview we have at the Liberty Institute. These guys are great. They're fighting for liberty, religious liberty, and we love them. Check out the Vito and Vito here at the Values Voters Summit. I'm with Jeff Mateer, General Counsel for the Liberty Institute, an institution that is defending religious liberty, doing a great job, and I'm a huge defender. Jeff, welcome to the program.
Hey, great to be with you guys.
Awesome. Jeff, now, tell us some of the work that you've been handling over at Liberty Institute.
Yeah, that's like almost ask me, what is my favorite child? I have three, so I have to go through. One of the latest victories that we had was representing Chaplain Wes Motter. And, guys, this is an outrageous one. It's a chaplain. He's been in the service for 20 years, almost 20 years, serving his country honorably. And he's a chaplain. So what do chaplains do? They minister, they counsel. He's ordained by the Assemblies of God. So what's he do? Well, he counsels pursuant to his religious beliefs. And Chaplain Motter did that on one-on-one counseling sessions. A few sailors complained because they asked him questions about marriage and sexuality. And he answered according to his religious beliefs, according to the Bible. And what happened? His commanding officer relieved him of his duties, threatened to court-martial him, and put him on the shelf. And, fortunately, Wes reached out to us at Liberty Institute, and after several layers going through the military process, we just recently, actually 3 weeks ago today, we obtained a victory and had a two-star admiral overturn the decision. And so Wes has been fully reinstated. Not only fully reinstated, he's gotten to choose his next command. And Wes is a smart man, having been on the East Coast. He chose San Diego. So his next base is going to be serving in sunny Southern California. So, that's just an example of one man who really was mistreated in our military, but he was willing to stand up and fight, because in our country we do have religious liberty rights. And when people stand up, we can and do win.
Well, I agree with that 100%. I want to talk about religious liberty here for a second. It's under attack in this country, specifically Christians. The Benham brothers, who we interviewed earlier this morning, said to us, it's not an attack on all religions. It's an attack on Christianity in particular. Why? Islam, the Muslims aren't going... There's no force going towards Muslims, forcing them to bake a cake. There's no forcing of Jewish clerks to issue marriage licenses that are against their religious beliefs. But when you go after Christians, it seems to be open season. Jeff, explain to me why we have this issue in this country. Is it political? Is it philosophical? Is it an infestation of a new culture? What is it in this country that has people so angry about Christianity in particular?
Well, there's a clash. and it's a clash of absolutes. And the Supreme Court's decision a couple months ago on same-sex marriage is really, it's not the cause, it's just evidence of the clash. And so we have an administration in Washington, D.C. who truly believes that this new sexual liberty trumps First Amendment rights. And that is causing all these conflicts. We do a survey at Liberty Institute in which we document each instance of religious hostility occurring in America. Just over this past year, 133% increased. That's before the Supreme Court's decision on marriage. I mean, I can't imagine we're now collecting this year's. It'll even keep going up. But it is this clash, and it's a clash of worldviews. We used to think that churches provided a valuable role. And we've gone from where it's been foundational, fundamental, what our believers, what our founders believed, to where in maybe the 60s and 70s, 80s and 90s, we kind of looked at religion as sort of private. Some people liked it, some people didn't. But today, there's actually a large segment of our society, certainly the cultural elites, people running the government, people in our academic institutions, who believe that religion is detrimental and it's actually harmful to society. And so we're seeing that. But the good thing is when people of faith, I think people are getting woken up. I think the Benham brothers are a great example of that. Our chaplain West Mott are another great example of that. People who are willing to stand up. We've got a young lady here from Long Island, Liz Laverty. She was told by her public school there in Long Island that she couldn't have a Bible club. Mm-hmm. Well, she stood up. She contacted us, and we were able to convince the school district of its wrong ways. People of faith, when they stand up, they can't win these battles.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, it's an issue here over the First Amendment. And for example, I like to make this point as a libertarian. I am more for the separation of church and state. And also as a person that's not very religious, I still stand with people at the Liberty Institute because it is about your First Amendment right to be free and worship how you please as long as nobody's getting hurt. And I think what you're doing is a valuable service, not just to society, but to this, sustaining American culture and showing that we really are that shining city on the hill. When you give people that freedom to be free. Jeff, last question I want to ask you here: do you think that this issue is going to go away anytime soon? When will Christians get the safeguard that they really deserve, in that they're not attacked by the state?
Well, I think it's not going to go away anytime soon, unless people of faith. People like yourself who actually believe in freedom go and we retreat into the caves and recesses of society. If we do that, the issue will go away because we'll lost. And the issue really is, it's about the freedom to believe and then to have the ability to act on those beliefs. That's what the founders enshrined in the First Amendment, the freedom to believe and to act on those beliefs. And I think as long as Americans are committed to those principles and we stand up and fight, it's going to be a battle. It's not going to be won in a year. It's certainly not going to be won in presidential elections, although they're important. Presidential elections are important because Supreme Court justices are important, right? That's who preserves our rights. So with 3 judges about to be over 80, I think 3 over 80 years old, this next president could appoint 3 to 4 judges. That's key. But a presidential election won't change it, right? We now have Republicans controlling the House and the Senate. It hasn't changed it. But it's going to be real Americans standing up every day and fighting for these rights.
Jeff Mateer. I'm so sorry.
That's good.
But he's a general counsel at the Liberty Institute, and the man's a patriot. Thank you for coming on the program.
Thanks.
And that was the Liberty Institute. Man, we got a lot of great interviews. But Vito's going to kill me because we are pressed for time. So guess what? It's that time of the week again. Forget about it. Moments of the week.
Forget about it? Forget about it.
Forget about it. That's right. Forget about it. Moments of the week. This is our favorite part of the show. We get to break down some of the craziest moments in politics. And guess what? We're even going to throw in some anecdotal stuff from our own lives over the Values Voters Summit weekend. Vito, first forget about it moment.
According to mirror.cu.uk, a psychologist poured drain cleaner into a lady's eye because she wants to be blind. She asked the psychologist to blind her.
Well, and the psychologist did it?
Yeah.
You see, those are 2 dumb peas in a pod. You see, that's embarrassing. Why would you do something like that? Why would you want to go blind? You're blind as it is, Vito.
What would Freud do?
Is that your mother? Let's go to our second forget about it moment of the week.
Going to CBS Los Angeles in Irvine, beautiful California, a naked man decided to beat a woman with a stick.
Oh, my God. Why the hell did he do that?
We don't know, but he was naked and he beat her with a stick. Us stick, not his stick. Us stick.
Clever. I swear, if she would have opened the door, this would have never happened.
Sick, Vito. Sick.
And our last forget about a moment of the week.
First day of Values voted, me and Vito walk into Radio Row to do this radio thing that we do. Yeah. And this guy starts bumping me, and he pushed Vito out of the way, and he keeps pushing me. He's like, move. And I'm not moving. So finally, I turn around and think, who the hell is pushing me? It's John McCain. And Vito goes, you just got pushed out of the way by John McCain. And John McCain turned around, shakes my hand, and says, that's how I lose votes. And I shook his hand and said, good. So John McCain
pushed you out of the way?
Yeah.
What's John McCain?
He's like, I gotta go. He had an interview.
Uh-huh.
He's lined up and we'll walk in.
Yeah, it was an interview.
He was trying to get to Radio Row. She was like pushing me. Like, move, excuse me. Move out of the way. He's like, pushing. He's like, who the hell is touching me?
But he pushed you out of the way. This is a frail little old man with a funky-looking comb over, and he pushed you out of the way?
It's a couple pushes.
Now, you're a big boy.
Thank you.
Yeah. That's not what I meant. But you're a big guy. Like, this guy's pushing you out of the way?
Listen, he was pushing me. Secret Service was pushing me. We have another interview to play.
I just want to say, before we go any further, John McCain has Secret Service people following him around.
I know.
Isn't it ridiculous?
He's important.
He's important.
He's the rhino in chief.
He's the rhino in chief. Listen up, we got another great interview for you. This was
my favorite.
This was one of my favorites. They are awesome guys, the Benham brothers. Hear what they had to say about religious liberty in America from the two guys themselves. And here we are at the Values Voters Summit with the Benham brothers. Vito, these two guys, superstars. Welcome to the program.
I wouldn't say superstars, man.
We're sitting
definitely
between
not
a couple superstars.
Yeah, that's
the
right.
V&V show right here.
That's why we like them, because they compliment us. Listen, guys, we got some serious stuff to talk about. Religious liberty. You guys are big defenders of religious liberty. It's under attack in America.
Oh, yeah.
And as a libertarian who likes to separate church and state, and we'll get into that in just a little bit, I gotta ask you guys, this is some crazy stuff that the government is violating people's rights. You see Kim Davis, you see churches going under because of this stuff. What is your reaction to the war on Christians in America?
Well, let me say this real quick.
Sure.
We really don't think there's a war on religious liberty.
Okay.
There's a war on Christian liberty. You don't see Muslim bakers being sued for denying gay couples the right to bake a cake. You don't see that happening.
You don't see imams and clerics being forced to do a gay wedding.
And you also don't see what you do see are Christian refugees being blocked from getting into this country. Now, why the Christians and not the Hindu or the Muslim or the atheist? Why not? Because Christianity, the religion of Christianity, is the one that's under attack, and that's what we're proclaiming for everybody to hear. Loud and clear.
Well, why is it under attack? I mean, why do they just target Christianity? And you're right, I agree with you actually 100%.
Well,
I would call it a war on Christianity.
This is David speaking. Couple of points on that one. First of all, it's a spiritual issue. The Lord speaks very clearly in the book of Revelation that there is a war against, and it says it's Revelation chapter 12, verse 17. So no one will take my word for it. Read it for yourself. That there is a war against those who keep the commandments of God and hold to the testimony of Jesus Christ. So it's a spiritual battle first. Secondly, it's a political battle. It's manifesting itself in the political realm. There's this power struggle, and what we're seeing is that those that don't believe in God or that hate God or whatever the vendetta they have against God, as they get into positions of power and authority and leadership, they want to take every vestige of God, any of those who would actually hold to traditional views of God, and get them out, get their influence out. And so that's what we're seeing today. It's very clear in Scripture.
Because Christians also subscribe to a higher law. To be a true Christian, to be a true believer, you have to recognize that God is the source of all rights. God is the source of all existence, and God and His natural laws are what ultimately govern us, and any governing authority has to come under that. That's a problem. For folks that don't subscribe to the same belief, they say, well, nothing outside of our own governmental rules should transcend our law, and we say, no, the rule of God does, and so therefore they try to extinguish it.
Well, let's talk about a specific case in particular. Kim Davis.
Yeah.
Here's a woman who I call a patriot. I don't care what anybody calls her or what anybody says about me. She's a patriot. What's your take on this? I want to know. Is she violating the law? Is she within her rights? What's the story?
Let me start with this. There's two things with Kim. Right now, she's got two things on her side. First, she has the law of the land. In Kentucky, 2004, they in their constitution, there's an amendment that states specifically what marriage is, and there is a punishment for those who would issue licenses contrary to that. She upheld her law. Okay, now just think about it this way. Look at what happened in California with the mayor there in San Francisco. He was issuing gay couples licenses to be married that was against his constitution. She was prosecuted, he was not. Who was the lawbreaker? Well, she wasn't the lawbreaker, he was the lawbreaker. Okay, so that's the first. So legally she did nothing wrong. She upheld the law. And people believe right now that our judges
make law.
Our justices at the Supreme Court and on down into the circuit courts and into the local levels, they're the ones who make law. They don't make law. That's why all of our founding fathers, you go read their stuff, even Abraham Lincoln said, good thing that the Supreme Court, and the judicial branch is the weakest branch and that they have no enforcement capability because they would become tyrannical. But on the second is Kim Davis did not break God's law. She upheld it. And one day when the law of the land may change and the state's constitutions do say that marriage can be between a man and a man or a woman and a woman, well, then we have a responsibility to uphold a higher law. So she upheld both laws.
Well, I agree. But let me just finish up with this question. As a libertarian, okay, they all want to say less government, less intrusive state.
Yeah.
And that, I think, applies to this war on Christianity, like you said before. People are attacking Christians in this country. And they're using the government to do it. Do you see an alliance between libertarians who are reluctant to accept the church involved with the state and the Christian conservative movement?
Well, the one thing that I would say, I think Christian conservatives, too, none of us want a theocracy.
Mm-hmm.
None of us want a religion to take over the government like what happens in the Middle East. And also, none of us want to see the government then either enforce, be absolute, and then do away with any of our religion. So, I don't think that's why there is that separation there. It's not the separation of church and state in the mindset of the church can't influence the state, but it's the separation in that neither one are going to infringe on the other, and it's specifically from the top down, from the government into the church.
Martin Luther King Jr. once said, the church must be reminded that it is neither the master nor the servant of the state, rather it is the conscience of the state. So when you say the separation of church and state, surely you don't mean separating Christian influence from the state.
Oh, no.
Of course not. What you mean is what Jason and I mean.
Exactly.
We're not going to have a state religion. We're not going to have the state interfere in church on both ways, because there is a wall that Thomas Jefferson talked about in that letter he wrote to the Danbury Baptist Church. It's a one-way wall. Christians can influence the state, but the state cannot interject its influence into the church.
No, I think that's the most compelling argument I heard right now for the separation of church and state. And just a quick question, do you think libertarians and Christian conservatives can come together and sort of align themselves?
There's a lot of places where we can come together and align ourselves. One of the things that Jason and I say is that you don't need a government to become the moral police. That's the role of the church. Now, unfortunately, we've institutionalized same-sex marriage. We've institutionalized the murder of the unborn. So because those have now been institutionalized, and when I say institutionalized, established, people think it's law of the land. Unfortunately, it's not, but we understand how the judicial tyranny is working. But they're established. So I think probably where we would break on libertarianism, I would say, hey, if the next president, Congress, let's vote to defund Planned Parenthood. Let's do all of that stuff. Now, maybe libertarians would say, no, government, just get out of the way. But unfortunately, we've institutionalized and established things that are clearly wrong that we need now the government to help undo. That's what I think.
Something like that I see as a stepping stone towards less government. I think we all agree less government is a great...
We have to have less government. We've got way too much government as it is. We need to shut down the National Education Association, the EPA. We need to shut that stuff down. We're wasting so much money. This is just nuts what we're doing.
And I think you've got most of the founding fathers would have probably leaned more to the libertarian way of saying, hey, the smaller, the better.
Speaking of defunding Planned Parenthood and big government, today Speaker Boehner announced that he's going to be resigning at the end of October. How is this a good step for religious liberty? You know, maybe get more conservative in the speakership and maybe see the leadership do something to help out religious liberty.
Well, it's really interesting. Jason and I, we've never, hailed ourselves as policy guys or anything like that, but I mean, we pay attention to politics. Boehner's not the leader to defund Planned Parenthood. He's not the leader that's going to take these issues on. I would rather know who my enemy is, know exactly what they think, see their positions, than have some dude that's going to tell me one thing, and when I turn around and walk out of the room, he's going to do something totally different. That's gutless, that's cowardless. And Speaker Boehner retiring actually is an act of courage for me. I didn't think he had any. But you know what? It's courageous for him to just walk himself right out of Washington, D.C.
But then the other thing that not a lot of people are talking about, everybody's talking about defunding Planned Parenthood. What type of awesome, incredible reward would that be to a criminal? When a criminal gets caught killing someone or stealing or whatever, and then going out and selling body parts, and then he gets caught by the police and they say, you know what, just don't do it again. Or the people who are funding you, we're going to make sure they don't fund you. But then they don't put them in jail. There's no law that's brought against them. I think Planned Parenthood needs to be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law for what they have done and the laws that they have broken. And if that doesn't happen, it's only going to encourage other organizations to do what they did, and it's going to continue to go on. They're just going to do it more covert to make sure they don't get caught.
Again, the fight is strong. Gentlemen, thank you for your time. Where can we find you on social media, your websites?
Facebook, Benham Brothers, Twitter, @BenhamBrothers, or BenhamBrothers.com, or Benham Brothers on Instagram. Just BENHAM, Benham Brothers.
There you go.
Vito and Vito, boys.
I was just about to say, thank you for your time, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Listen, Vito, we got Twitter Fan of the Week. That's right, time of the week again. Twitter Fan of the Week. Who's a Twitter fan?
Our Twitter fan. If I can find my notes. At PJ Lockhart.
All right.
Patrick Lockhart. Go give him a follow. At PJ Lockhart.
Awesome.
That's on Twitter.
That's right. Swish for you, brother. Congratulations. You're our Twitter Fan of the Week. Listen, we're signing off here on the Vito and Vito Show. It's been a lot of fun. We played as much interviews as we can from the Values Voters Summit. Another year, another success story. These guys are awesome. Those promoting religious liberty and fighting for your right to be left alone so you could worship freely is a right that I, as a libertarian, defend to the fullest degree. Yeah, don't laugh.
It was a lot of fun this trip. Can't wait to go back to DC again, get some more interviews. Defend freedom.
Defend freedom. Next week's going to be a blast, ladies and gentlemen. You can catch around to hear me scream. Check out the website, www.vitoandvito.com. Give us a follow. Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Vito and Vito Show. From the anal ward of the Empire State Building.
Because we can't afford the first floor.
That's right. Live from the basement of the Empire State Building. The Vito and Vito Show in Brooklyn.
It's nothing but...
The leader in talk radio on the internet, right here on K98Talk.com.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. And then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-513-6154. That's 1-800-513-6154. Again, 1-800-513-6154. Call now.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it. There to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.